It was chaos. It was very much filled with a lot of alcohol, a lot of drugs, a lot of partying, a lot of living completely opposite of the way I'm living now. It would tear me up to the point where I would have to drink another drink or smoke another joint just to relax my mind, to not feel the regret, and then once that high wore off, then it would be even worse. Yeah. Well, April 30th, 2014, I was working. My phone started blowing up with text messages from my mom, because she's one of my main people in my lives who helps out with the boys, my two boys. I had left my Facebook wall open to a private message I was having with my drug dealer slash friends with benefits. And not only did she read it, at the time my 17-year-old sister Samantha also read it. And my mom basically told me that night that she was giving me to God and that I needed to have a serious conversation with him about what I was going to do with my life. I went home and I argued and I cried and I fought for about 3 hours out loud in my own home. Boys were sleeping and I'm just fighting, screaming. And finally I put my hands up and I said, I give in and I give up. I am yours. You do with me what you want. If you choose to wake me up the next morning, you do. And cried myself to sleep that night. And I woke up on May 1st. And when I woke up, I remember the sun shining, and I remember birds singing, and I remember feeling like a 55 million pound weight had been lifted off my shoulders. And I said, all right, we're gonna do day one, and if you get me through day one, we're gonna keep going, and he did. Fire in my heart, I'll burn. The first church that we went to actually was over off of Genesee and Atherton. It was called Judson Baptist. That's kind of where I started reconnecting with God, if you will. And then I just felt like we were there for about almost a year, and then my sister Samantha, who attends this church, she's a member, met a member for a while. She'd been going to the church since she was 6. We got invited from her many, many times, and there was a point where I just felt like we needed to go to a different church, but I wasn't sure, so I prayed on it, and I just kept praying, and finally Sammy asked me one weekend, why don't you come to church with us? So the next Sunday we came to church here at Emmanuel, and about a year and a half later, we're still here. The very first time I walked in, I felt like I was welcome. I felt like I didn't have a bunch of people staring at me, judging me. I also liked the fact very much so that when I walked in, there was people in shorts, there was people in sweatpants, there was people in normal people clothes. I mean, it's really awesome to be able to dress up for church, but it's also really awesome to see a normal people style church, if you will, if that makes any sense, where God doesn't care what you wear, He just wants you to show up and worship Him and get His word. So I felt really comfortable here and really welcome. And Pastor John, the message that he gives every week is very explosive, and it really, really touches me every week. The bulletins that he gets every week that he gives to us, I've literally kept them every week. So I have a huge stack of the bulletins that I've wrote down and followed every single week. I just love this church. The people here, the kids, the programs, Awana, the boys are in Awana. I've been to a couple of Bible studies. I've done luncheons here because I'm a chef. Everybody knows that I love being a chef. So many doors have been opened here, and I just love it. It's just amazing. Well, I took Christian to a doctor's appointment, and I saw this woman sitting in the area where we were supposed to sit at, and I was being nosy that day, and I overheard a conversation she was having, and it didn't sound like it was a very positive conversation, and her little boy was sitting with her, and I felt like I needed to pray for her, so I did in silence. And me and Christian went to our appointment, and then we went about our day. And then 2 weeks later, we were there, and the same woman was there. And it was right after Pastor John had given us the message on Sunday about not missing an opportunity. And so I sat there the whole time Christian is in his appointment, arguing with myself, and I guess you could say with God. Okay, do I walk up to her or do I not? And I was afraid for a minute because, yes, I mean, anybody that knows me knows I'm a very outgoing person. I really don't care what I say, who I say it to. But when it comes to something like that, I was nervous. And so we were getting ready to get up, and I was getting ready to walk by her because I wasn't going to say anything. And it was like the Lord literally pushed me right towards her. And I touched her on her shoulder, and she turned around. And I introduced myself to her and told her that I just wanted to reach out to her and tell her hi, and that I had saw her 2 weeks prior and I prayed for her, and that I didn't know what her situation was, but that whatever it was, that God would be able to help her through it. And she said thank you. She seemed kind of stunned a little bit, but then we exchanged numbers and Facebook names and became friends, and now I can say that I have another sister in Christ.
Yeah, I was a little like, what are you doing? You know? I just felt like the need to listen to her. I just felt like some sort of energy and positivity from her. Becca had invited me, and I came, and I actually felt comfortable. I felt welcomed. Everybody was very, very sweet and nice. So I decided to come back. This is the first church I've ever felt comfortable at. 2 weeks prior to Christmas, 2015, I sat down with Mary and Ken Hobson and gave my life to Christ that day. If you do it your way, you will fail. And I have tried to do it my way in several different times, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't work, and it's not worth it.
Well, we all have struggles, us being mothers, us being, having finances, having just everyday life. And she can call me with her struggles, and I can pray for her, and I can call her with my struggles, and she prays for me. And I give her motivation, as she says, and she gives me motivation to keep going, to give her hope. She's really an amazing person. She's got a lot of gifts. God has really gifted her and blessed her with these things, and He's blessed me with her friendship.